iRacing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the show. Tonight we have a good one here. It is race number 19 of the 802 Friday Night Busch Series. Here tonight, the drivers have to try and take on Chicagoland Speedway. That's right, the track that's making its grand return to the NASCAR schedule here this season. Of course, we get to race a little bit on it here on iRacing here tonight as we get ready to rock and roll for qualifying. 5 minutes on the clock, 2 time laps. Each driver will have a chance to get a crack at from those 2 laps. The best lap of those 2 will set tonight's starting lineup here for the Deep Dish 180. Here after qualifying, 120 laps of green flag racing here to be had. And I tell you what, we should be in a good one here because these cars, bunch of fun at this place, but it's going to take a really good driver behind the wheel to walk away with the checkered flag when it's all said and done. I believe about 15 cars here on the Speedway ready to do battle. One of those drivers we're looking at here, Steve Ritter, in that bone drive roof and 61 machine. Ritter off of turn number 4 for his first time lap. We'll see what he can do here. Heads down to the apron, trying to make this track as short as possible. Lap number 1 for Ritter. Pretty good from the 61 to 31. 1-1, so a lot of ones there, but actually gets beat by Landon Audit there in the 15 machine. Usually when it comes to big fast tracks like these, second time lap usually is a little bit better just because you have a little bit of that momentum on your side as Rob Lowell cracks into the 32nd bracket with a 30.99. Steve Ritter does improve there on lap number 2, but only to a 31.05. We take a look here. Driver, I believe, making his first ever Busch Series start. This is Isaac Salas. So Salas out here with the Busch Light orange machine. 5 on the car, 9 in the timing and scoring. We'll see what Isaac can do here. First lap pretty good at 31.02. Right now with the quick time, Brandon Guerin in the 1 machine. Guerin had about 2 laps of practice, but that was good enough for the number 1 at the moment because he sits atop of the board. Salas there, lap number 2 does improve only to a 31.02. Excuse me, does not improve on lap number 2, a 31.18 for the number 9 machine. Another driver here that's looking for, just a little bit of that lady luck. It seems like Johnny Barker always just on the wrong side of things. We'll see what Barker can do here tonight in the 6th as Johnny Barker here is on the clock. Joe Hudson will slot into 7th for the time being. Ken Kuko will be in P number 6 here. Dustin Coggin trying to put together a late race charge, or I should say a late season charge at the point standings. He comes in 2nd in points trying to chase down Logan Koger as Barker lap number 1 at 31.20. So the 6 car going to try and find some speed here. Lap number 2, Joe Hudson now with the quick time. So the 23 machine goes to the top of the board there in lap number 2. Through 3 and 4 for the final time for Barker. Put those left sides right on that white paint, right where you need to put it. This should be a pretty good lap here for Barker on lap number 2. Does improve a 31.08, but that will still keep him P number 10. So that goes to show just how close times are here tonight. Koger there, lap number 1, a great one at that. The 80 machine goes to the top of the charts here, so that is good news for Logan with his points situation. He comes in tonight with the points lead, so it looks like he should be able to walk away with at least a little bit of bonus points for leading some laps here, as Koger gonna walk away with the quick time from that first lap. So congrats to Logan. I want to double check just to be sure about the stats. Looks like 2 poles coming into tonight, and then from qualifying here tonight, the old 80 machine will get his 3rd Riptide Radio Pole Award here, and the 3rd one coming tonight at Chicagoland. So congrats to Logan there with that. Our points leader will lead the field to green flag. And speaking about heading to green flag, what do we say we head down trackside and get to tonight's starting lineup for the Deep Dish 180 here at Chicagoland Speedway. Alrighty folks, tonight's starting lineup here for race number 19, if you can believe it, of the 802 Busch Series will look like the following. Logan Koger here will lead the green flag. Our points leader in the 80 machine will start on the pole to his outside. And also on the outside of the front row, a great looking shot at the car right here. It is the black number 23 machine of Joe Hudson. Then we head back to row number 2. The car starting on the inside here will be the 1 car. That is Brandon Guerin here rolling off P number 3. Guerin, I believe, coming into tonight 3rd in points. So he was able to jump up to 3rd, about 40 or so points back. So Brandon still in the hunt with just over a handful of races here left in this season. Then to his outside, the 21 GStone machine of Rob Lowell will start P number 4. Bryson Anderson, a great qualifying effort by him. He will start in P number 5, starting in 6th. 2nd in points, Dustin Coggins in the 46 machine will roll off 6th. 7th going to Isaac Salas in the 9 machine, or the 5 on the car. Ken Kuko here in the 51 will start 8th. 9th will be the 61 of Steve Ritter. Landon Audit here tonight will round out the top 10. Johnny Barker will start 11th. 12th going to Ron Holyfield. 13th will be Steve Vest. 14th will be Scott Simley. And Mike Kelly here wanted us, looks like, start in the back. He will start shotgun on the field, so should be interesting to see how quickly Mike Kelly can try and slice and dice his way through the field here tonight. But speaking about the field here, we are ready to rock and roll here tonight at Chicagoland. It's going to be Koger, Hudson on the front row. iRacing pace car heads down pit road. And here we go. We go green flag racing here at Chicagoland and kick off race number 19 here. 2x2 throughout the field as they'll dive down into turn number 1 here. Koger able to get the advantage. Will get clear of the 23 machine. Hudson, though, will have the momentum here down the back straightaway. And right now, single filed on out here pretty quickly, as it looks like Rob Lowell will get a position over Brandon Guerin up on the high side here. So besides the cars, maybe that started on the front row like Joe Hudson, the rest of the field here looking pretty good when it comes to starting on that outside lane. So something to keep an eye here, as we got 1 car down on pit road here early. Ken Kuko in the 51 machine. Not sure if he's having an issue or what's going on, but the 51 here down on pit road, lap number 1. That's usually never a good sign. as the 80 machine of Koger here will lead at the conclusion of lap number 2, starting to put a little bit of gap here over that 21 machine. So we got to already start to wonder who's maybe taking care of their stuff, who's kind of pushing it, and we can always tell that a little bit too, what kind of lines those cars and drivers are running here tonight. If you're like the 32 machine of Bryson Anderson, kind of running the middle to the top side of the racetrack, that tells me they're trying to, push the pace just a little bit, using up a little bit more of that tire compared to the cars that are lifting a little bit earlier, driving that car to that inside lane here. Brandon Guerin had to make a little bit of evasive maneuver. Rob Lowell had to check up for Logan there, and Guerin had a big head of steam, had to shoot to the outside of the 21 machine there. Looks like Guerin will have a nose to the outside. He'll sail it in there deep, and he will try and get P number 2 here away from the 21 machine. Going to do just that there right before the start finish line. Right behind them, still a great battle here between Salas and Anderson here, just outside of the top 5 here, but those two putting on a pretty good battle, still side by side. Now swap positions as Anderson down on the bottom. Looks like he will concede the spot for the time being. Just as we say that though, the battle for second, he not up. And I tell you what, Logan Koger, excited to see this in his mirror. These two gonna battle each other, slow each other down just a little bit. That can allow that 80 machine to get on away just a little bit from these cars. And I tell you what, this early in the race, definitely digging that. A little update on Mike Kelly here, the 43 machine, already into the top 10. Now trying to get 9th away from Steve Ritter. Going to do that just into turn number 3. So Mike Kelly early in this one, already up 6 spots with 6 laps completed. But we can kind of see for sure here tonight, folks. I mean, we saw Brandon Guerin, Rob Lowell, battling each other for a second, falling back from the race leader. Well, that draft here, very, very powerful. Brandon Guerin already once again right in, now closing into 2 car lengths on the race leader. So that goes to show you just push the pace just a little bit, especially with some draft. You can make up a good amount of time here in a hurry. As kind of right now the top 7 or so all under a blanket. Then Johnny Barker kind of sits a little bit in no man's land, and then it is Mike Kelly trying to run him on down. Ron Holyfield in the white 25 machine land, and Audit in the Hellman's 15, all right in a battle, as well as Steve Ritter here. So already some drivers kind of playing some strategy here early in this one, thinking that especially with the group of guys we have here tonight and the car count, we could very, very well see this race go green to checkered. As here we go, first battle for the race lead of the night. Rob Lowell looking to mount a charge here on Koger. He's going to sail it in there deep. He's going to get clear of the 80 machine. New race leader out in front. The 21 machine of Rob Lowell takes over the point. So things definitely still slicing and dicing their way through this race and this one. I mean, especially everyone in this top 7 here. Any one of these drivers could take the race lead. It looks like actually we might be losing touch of that 7th driver. Joe Hudson now losing the draft just a little bit to those cars in front of him. He's about 7/10 of a second. Remember, draft comes into effect here in iRacing when you're about a half a second or less from the cars in front of you. So Hudson may have to turn it up just a little bit to make sure he can stay in the draft. Or this could definitely help that 23 machine, as these guys still side by side. Man, Anderson and Salas, it seems like these guys have been side by side more laps than they have been single file here tonight. And with that there, still keeping pace as Anderson will grab a piece of the wall there through 1 and 2. He will lose a little bit of that momentum there. Have to slot in behind Coggin and have to kind of regather his bearings and put his head back down and see what that 32 machine can do once again. But I tell you what, Bryson Anderson, if he can put everything together here this race, he could have himself a very, very solid race when it's all said and done here. A little bit deeper in the field here, Steve Ritter trying to get back some of those positions he kind of lost here. I think Ritter went into big time tire saving mode here to start the race, and Ritter will get around landing audit for that 11th position. That puts Ritter about 2 spots back from where he started. Looks like Ken's still out of this one, so not sure what happened there, but at least took the green flag in the 51 machine, but has since kind of start and parked it here, as we are already, over a 10th of the way here, done with the race here tonight. I think right there off of turn number 2, Joe Hudson will snag a piece of the wall. So let's ride on board real quick with Joe Hudson, just to get a kind of view of this place, get a kind of understanding of a lap, because this track is pretty tricky, especially how wide these corners are. It really matters where you put this race car, because there are some bumps. You can see the camera right there in the car kind of bouncing over some big bumps on entry. And then coming off of 2 right here, this wall kind of does curve, but you can see you lose a banking in the corner very quickly. So if you're not careful with the throttle, you pick it up too aggressively, you take the weight off that right front, that car is going to drift just straight to that wall, straight to the right, and then, end up in the wall. And here with these cars, you pretty much get one kind of light brush with the wall. Anything more than that, you're ending up with some damage, and that could put you a 10th or more at a deficit off the lap. As we see right there, Bryson Anderson, big time moment off of turn number 2, and that's what you got to deal with here tonight, as this track looks kind of fairly easy, let's say, fairly straightforward, but it's anything but that, especially once you get a little bit of that dirty air mixed in as well, or some good old wear on that right front tire, and that car doesn't turn as well as it used to. So Rob Lowell here starting to gap the rest of the field with that. Here comes now Brandon Guerin to the outside of Koger. There's a battle for second, as Brandon Guerin going to be able to do just that. Now here comes first start of the season, Isaac Salas looking to the outside of the 80 machine here down the front straightaway. So Logan Koger here, a little bit off the pace here, kind of as we approach the mid-run here. We've kind of seen this before from the 80 machine, where he'll start off fired out of a cannon, kind of slow it on down, and then kind of return it back up later in the run. But right now he's got to be careful, because he can't lose too much track position, because it's only going to get harder and harder to pass without drivers making a mistake as these tires continue to wear away, because this track surface definitely very old, and that means high tire wear. But here's a good case, like we said, Joe Hudson losing kind of the feel on this first pack. Well, he backed it down to a consistent pace, now started to turn it back up, and he's once again driving up through the field, as Hudson will look to the inside of Coggin here at the start finish line. So this 23 machine said, you know what, we'll try take the race lead, didn't work, we'll back it on off and then be here later in the run. That's exactly what Joe Hudson's doing here tonight, as he has redriven up into the top 5 here. So here tonight now, under 100 laps left in this one. So laps continue to click on down, of course, up towards the front here. Battle for second. Isaac Salas to the inside of Brandon Guerin. Those two will drag race here down the back straightaway. Guerin going to have the momentum. Guerin going to be able to hang on to that position. So that's why I said passing may become at a premium here, because those drivers with a little bit more worn tires can jump up to the high side, because at that point they're like, hey, we used up this right front, that right rear. We just got to keep pace. We're going to go where the momentum's at. That's at the top side of the racetrack. As long as the driver doesn't get the wall, you know, they can hold up a pretty strong fight up there in that outside lane here. As here comes Koger now back to the inside of Salas. So with that, Salas on the attack, maybe left himself a little bit vulnerable to a move there, and Koger gonna jump at the opportunity. But now here comes Joe Hudson to maybe take advantage of Koger being down on that inside lane. So we can see here very quickly everyone trying to get up to the top side of the racetrack, as wow, Koger just being able to clear himself there, and we get 3 wide into turn number 3. How will this shake on out? These cars running just inches apart from each other. It looks like Koger going to be the best shape out of that one, being on the top side of the racetrack here. Man, oh man, some good racing here tonight to kick off race number 19, and it's far from over, that's for sure here. As once again up towards the front, here comes Isaac Salas, trying to make the move on Brandon Guerin. Guerin held strong on the top side last time. We'll see if Salas can try maybe something a little bit different. That time not going to work out for the number 5 on the car or the 9 in the timing and scoring. Brandon Guerin here back to the bottom side. Rob Lowell, our race leader, we saw right there, put it up towards the middle to the top side of 1 and 2. So these drivers here already tonight, tires starting to go away, and they quickly start searching around this kind of concrete-esque 2-mile speedway here, trying to search, trying to find where that speed's at. And we have battles all over the speedway, including deeper in the field here. Scott Simley starting to get pressure from Landon Audit, Steve Vest right there, and that's 12th, 13th, and 14th. I mean, the whole pack, you know, seems like most everyone having some sort of cars around them to kind of duke it out and put on a battle with. So no one's definitely running on away with anything here for the time being. And I think the big X factor, we've seen it before many of times this season, might come down to it here tonight as well. What's the right strategy? When's the right time to pit? And who can be the best on and off of pit road? The Mike Kelly update here in this one. Kelly still P number 9, though he is running down this pack about 8 cars once again up in front of him. Bryson Anderson sits in 8th, 7th is Dustin Coggin. Johnny Barker has joined up into this pack, into this battle, as once again, here we go. Joe Hudson, Logan Koger, still duking it on out for this position. Hudson down low here through 3 and 4. Koger up top. Koger gonna get right on the door of the 23 machine on corner exit. And up in front, new race leader Brandon Guerin trying to take the race lead away from Rob Lowell. Those two will make contact. Luckily, the 21 machine not into the wall. But man, Rob Lowell will drive that car in there deep. We'll get the race lead on back. Man, it's about to get a barn burner here for the race lead, as they were 3 wide for it down the front straightaway. Brandon Guerin this time through 3 and 4, going to put it up on the fence. Going to try and build back up that momentum there in the 1 machine. And I think going to get a nose to the outside of Rob Lowell. So what does Rob do here into turn number 1? Does he drive it in there deep, try the slide job, take away the 1 car's lane? He will try and do that. Brandon Guerin going to try the crossover here, but had to lift a little bit. Looks like Brandon Guerin just going to stay in line, not going to try and give up the position to the 80 machine by shooting down low and leaving that top side open. Koger, though, saying, you know what? Since I don't got a car behind me, I don't have any pressure. I'm going to go try once again this inside lane, see what I can do. But as we see right there, just can't get enough of a run to kind of make it really happen here. So I tell you what, folks, some great battles here. And the top 7, top 8, let's make it, all under a pack here. All up in this kind of second and third lane here. Now with everyone up here, the question is who will use up their stuff just that little bit more than the cars around them? Who will be the one to make a mistake? Because you can hear, once again, people being a little timid on throttle. Brandon Guerin had to get in it, get out of it just to make sure that car rotated. And that's kind of a key to making sure these cars rotate. You see Guerin at least a car length lower than Rob Wolf, 3 and 4, trying to keep that clean air on the nose through the corner, then trying to follow right in the draft here through these long straightaways at Chicagoland. I think once again, let's ride on board with second in points, Dustin Coggin, just to get a view kind of the cars kind of snaking on around up in front of him. So we'll jump on the roof here of the 46 machine. Let's take a lap here around Chicagoland Speedway in the thick of it with drivers trying all sorts of lanes here tonight. You see there, Dustin Coggin, I think, got some help there on corner entry. That car got big time loose. You saw that thing swaying and weaving into entry, luckily able to keep it underneath him. But you can see this battle for third up in front of him. Joe Hudson gets clear of Koger, doesn't slide up right away. Wow, delayed slide job, but Hudson will make it work. Joe Hudson back up to P number 3. And you can see Koger there a little bit slower on entry, though. He was able to pick up the throttle. You can see, get that car length back from Coggin. But, I mean, these guys racing inches off of each other. You can definitely feel the arrow here in iRacing. And Koger definitely feeling the pressure. Here we go for P number 2. Joe Hudson will jump out of line. Let's see what Hudson's got as he will try and draw even for the race lead here. Side by side for the race lead, Rob Lowe will have the nose advantage at the start finish line, but Joe Hudson with the power move there, he's able to get around Brandon Guerin. The question is, can he find a gap to get back up to the top side, rebuild that momentum? Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but riding on board with Dustin Coggin, we had the lap times on up for the best lap versus the last lap, and not even 40 laps into this one, the lap times have already dropped off a second and a half. So it may come down to, I mean, it definitely will come down to, if this is a green to checkered race, when you come down to pit road, because an undercut can be a huge amount of time you can make up. The question is, can you have the pace when that checkered flag falls? Hudson making that kind of middle lane work. Tried to get clear of Guerin. Guerin will force his nose in there. Gets a little bit loose there. I think a tap from the 80 machine. But now Hudson starting to lose that momentum. Being in that middle lane, he is starting to slip on back as we go 3 wide here. Looks like Dustin Coggin gonna back on out of it just a little bit. Logan Koger into the wall here. Johnny Barker will trade some paint with the 80 machine. Logan back into the wall here. 3 wide. As, oh no, Mike Kelly, just as he caught this pack, was the innocent bystander in a little bit of ping pong in there, and the 43 machine will head through the grass, and the 43 machine gonna have some big time right front damage. You can see that fender crinkled, and like I said, at a big fast track like tonight, that will impair the pace of the 43 machine. So we hear our first call out for pit stops. Rob Lowell gonna bring it on in here this time by gonna break it up to a 2-stop race. I do like that call with the fall off here tonight. It can allow that 21 machine to really rip it each time he comes in. So he'll pit 40, 80, and then be good to the end. The question is, can any of these other drivers try and push it to lap 60 or so and try and make it a one-stopper? We'll find out if anyone else here heads to pit road, but I do like that call there from the 21 machine. As with our race leader here peeling in that time by, I'll hand over the race lead once again to Brandon Guerin in the 1 machine, and Guerin's gonna take any sort of points he can get. Like I said, about 40 points off of Koger with the points lead currently. So if he can keep on notching a few positions better, I think, let me double check the schedule here just to get an accurate and correct amount of races here left in the schedule. So 7 races, including tonight, 6 after tonight. Some more takers here on pit road. Joe Hudson down, Johnny Barker and Isaac Salas all down on pit road here to start lap 43. And I'm hearing more radio chatter from the spotters and drivers. This time by, we have the 1 car of Brandon Guerin bringing it on down to pit road. He will bring along Dustin Coggin here, and it looks like Brandon Guerin going to be right on the edge of pit road speed. I think he got it woed down enough, but that'll hand the race lead back to the driver that led us to the green flag, Logan Koger here, back to the point. So that leaves about 7 or so cars yet to visit pit road. Of course, that's all the cars from 1st through 7th here. As Mike Kelly here trying to continue to make up pace in this one. Even with that right front damage, it seems like maybe I got to give iRacing a little bit of credit. Maybe they worked on their damage model where a little right front crinkle like that isn't detrimental to your race, because he was able to make the move there on Bryson Anderson. So Mike Kelly definitely going to try and run this stint as long as possible. Rob Lowell last time by, his best lap of the night, the 21 machine here, absolutely flying out here on track. And actually, he kind of wasn't the best on and off of pit road. Right now, that actually goes to the 23 machine of Joe Hudson. Hudson, the best on and off pit road. And right now, depending on when everyone else will pit, he could cycle out to the race lead as Isaac Salas here trying to hold off Rob Lowell. Ron Holyfield here down on pit road. We got another, I believe, taker here coming to pit road. Yeah, the 43 machine of Mike Kelly saw that big gaggle of cars approaching quickly in the rearview mirror. Gonna say, you know, instead of losing a ton of time to them, let's bring it down to pit road. And I tell you what, that is a veteran call by veteran driver in that one. So now that leaves about 4 cars that have not visited pit road here in this one. One of them being the 80 machine. And check out this pace difference. Joe Hudson on new tires. The 80 machine on the 48 lap old tires here in this one. And you can see right here through 1 and 2, it's like the 80 machine just standing still. And that is what I'm talking about when I say there is a big time tire advantage when you undercut here tonight at Chicagoland. Johnny Barker was able to get on and off of pit road pretty well. The 6th machine here battling his teammate as well as Isaac Salas, as we see our race leader here, Logan Koger, with some trouble. Koger out of control a little bit on pit road, but he will keep that car somehow underneath him. And with him staying on pit road there, no pit road penalty for unsafe pit road entry. So Koger having a little bit of Code Brown moment, but he will keep that thing underneath him, because that's the last thing he needs with the points lead, is trouble on pit road here tonight. So three cars have yet to visit pit road here tonight. The current race leader, Bryson Anderson, Landon Audit, and Scott Simley. So we're right on board here with Bryson Anderson, picking up, I believe, his first laps led here of the season in the 32 machine. So I believe this time by, though, Anderson will give up the race lead. Going to bring it down to pit road here at the conclusion of lap 50. That'll put Landon Audit now to the race lead. So the Hellman's 15 machine of Audit will take over the point, and it should be really interesting because both Audit and Simley, kind of were off the pace from the beginning, but I think that could have maybe been the strategy, maybe trying to stretch that fuel tank to maybe that magic 60 lap mark, because if they can do that, do it one more time when it's all said and done, and they could be there at the end. But that's not the case for Audit. He will bring it into pit road here. That'll hand over the race lead to Scott Simley. So Simley gonna lead the first laps of the night, and here we go, riding on board with Simley. We can hear that car get shut off, clutch being pushed in, the 33 machine. Big time fuel saving mode. Let's ride on board with him, see what he's doing to save fuel. And you can hear there, right, kind of even before you would think you need to lift at full pace, we hear Scott Simley shutting off the car, pushing in the clutch, just letting it free roll on corner entry. That is max fuel saving mode. I mean, look at that into 3, just after the halfway point in the backstretch, shutting off that car, letting it coast. Scott Simley in big time fuel saving mode. And like I said, if he can make it to lap 60, do this all again, it's going to be very close, because you can see Simley here has yet to be passed by Hudson. If he can pit with the race lead with this fuel saving mode, man, Simley might be able to snatch away the first win with a big time strategy call here tonight at Chicagoland. Versus kind of what it sounds like here on Joe Hudson. So here's Hudson at full pace here, and you can hear big time into the throttle, very little off throttle time, and you can see the pace. I mean, so much faster into quarter entry. But that's all the name of the game for Scott Simley. He is trying to keep fuel in that tank, doesn't care too much about lap times, at least currently. But you can see here a big contrast to going full out here tonight. A little bit of a battle here mid-pack. Scott Simley, though, only able to stretch it to 55. So, man, that's going to be a tall task to make it here to the end. We'll see if that's enough for the 33 machine to maybe get it to the end. But that's going to be, like I said, a tall order. We head back up a 4-car battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th out here. And right here, all 4 of those cars right under a blanket here, as Johnny Barker sits in 2nd, Isaac Salas in 3rd. Brandon Guerin, though, trying to take that 3rd spot away. He's in 4th. Dustin Coggin rounding out the top 5, because Joe Hudson with that great pit stop both on and off of pit road. That's where the 23 machine really made up time. You can see he's out there to about a 2.3 second advantage here over Barker here in second. And with these guys kind of really slicing and dicing their way between them, that is only going to slow down their pace and allow Joe Hudson to kind of keep on getting further and further up in front here, as 2 by 2, 2 rows deep here for these spots. These guys are going out of here after the first round of green flag pit stops. Barker had to wait that split second there through 1 and 2. That's allowed Brandon Guerin to get on by. Here comes Isaac Salas once again to the outside of the 6 machine. Brandon Guerin just going to be able to get Johnny Barker just that little bit of room there through 3 and 4. I tell you what, Salas, man, he's another one that has been elbows up racing here all night long. I'm sure he's having a ton of fun out there. As here we go, 3 wide, Brandon Guerin gets tight. He has to lift. There goes Salas flying on by, as well as Dustin Coggin as well. Man, oh man, and if some drivers needed a good night here tonight, that would be the 46 and the 1 machine. Like I said, those two coming into tonight's 2nd and 3rd in the standings. And Logan Koger, after a kind of not so great pit stop, could have been a lot worse, but Logan, when it's all said and done, cycles out to about the 9th position here. So the 80 machine led the field to the green flag and has his work cut out for him here at the start-finish line, though. Joe Hudson will see cross flags there that time by. Joe Hudson, the race leader here at the halfway point. And the deep dish 180, so halfway down, halfway home here in this one. Logan Koger able to make up a position though there as he gets around Steve Ritter. So that 80 machine though definitely pushing here pretty hard. Now is trying to set his sights on Rob Lowell. Remember, Lowell pitted the first out of anyone there on lap 40, and now you can see the 21 machine with some right front nose damage. So that's definitely not helping the pace of that GStone 21 machine with that front nose cone crinkled on in like that. That is definitely, one, affecting the handling, and then 2, affecting the aero, the overall speed. So a tough night, just got a little bit tougher for the 21 machine with that damage. And you can see right there off of turn number 2 getting a piece of the wall again, and that's kind of the compound kind of damage that we get here on iRacing, that usually once you get some damage, it usually doesn't help that race car and can then make that kind of incident reoccur more and more as the run goes away, and that handling, you know, really falls off a cliff, let's say. So things kind of finally calming on down a little bit here tonight, just after the halfway point. Kind of the best battle on the Speedway here. There's Rob Lowell and Steve Ritter, but Ritter was able to just get around the 21 machine, so I think those two just kind of run in similar pace. Besides that, about a 0.2 of a second gap between Koger here and Mike Kelly. So Kelly, even after a little slide through the grass here tonight, he's still in P number 6. Yeah, a little bit of a ways back from the next cars in front of him, about 2 seconds back, that is. But still, anything could happen. He could have the right pace, time this final pit stop just right, make up some time that way, and could be definitely a factor here. Scott Simley, with that strategy call, he's trying to save fuel. He will go and be the only car currently 1 lap down, but that is because of his own doing, trying to save as much virtual fuel here in the race cars. what do we say we do a little turn 3 turning up here tonight, just after the halfway point here at Chicagoland. Alrighty folks, we head back here to Chicagoland Speedway on lap number 69 of 120, and I tell you what, I believe we have Upstate Al here from Turn 3 Racing Network up here in the flag stand, and I tell you what, hasn't had to do too much work here in this one, had to wave the green flag, and so far that's all we've had currently on a 70 lap run of green flag racing out here currently. I tell you what, let's run down the field. Let's see where your favorite driver is running. After the green flag pit stops here, Joe Hudson has taken over the race lead, has not looked back. Joe Hudson, our current race leader here. Isaac Salas here, first start here, I believe, in the Busch Series and making it count. Salas in P number 2, up 5 spots from where he qualified. Brandon Guerin here in P number 3 after half the race is completed. The one car right where he started. Brandon Guerin started third, currently in P number 3 as the one car looking pretty sporty here tonight. Another driver looking sporty as well. Dustin Coggin has hung around, it seems like, all night in the top 5. He currently sits in 4th, still putting some pressure on the one car. Johnny Barker here rounds out the top 5. The 6th car just looking for some momentum here after a tough outing at Dover last week. Johnny Barker just hoping to string together a race. Right now doing just that in 5th. Then we head back to our 6th place runner, Logan Koger. Koger, one of the latest cars down on pit road. He has made his way back up to 6th, though. Had a little bit of trouble on pit road, almost looped that race car on out. I think may have used up his tires, because then right behind him in 7th, Mike Kelly starting to re-put the pressure on the 80 machine. So Kelly started last tonight, started P number 15 right now. Biggest mover of the race, but it hasn't been an easy night for that 43 machine. A slide through the grass after some ping pong, some cars in front of him is no fault his own, but he's able to rebound to currently 7th. Then we have Steve Ritter here, started 9th, currently running in 8th, trying to find the right pace here for the race in this one, and Ritter trying to do just that. Rob Lowell, first car down on pit road on lap 40, probably will be back down on 80, but that car definitely wounded. We can see even down the straightaway, that thing seems like a handful. Definitely a wicked race car under that one with the damage. Rob Lowell just hoping to salvage whatever he can, as once again getting a piece of the wall here. Ron Holyfield looking for another top 10 on the season. Holyfield in that 25 machine currently sits P number 10, but probably here in a lap or two, we'll get around Rob Lowell for that 9th position. Steve Vest out here clicking off the laps. He in this Pennzoil 60 machine looking pretty good. No damage on that race car. Just like I said, nice and smooth, consistent out here clicking off the laps. And before it's all said and done, Steve Vest could get himself another top 10 finish. Though Vest sits 11th. 12th going to the 15 machine of Landon Audit. Audit in some sort of battles, it seems like all night long, but here after the green flag pit stop's kind of on his own island here currently, but still can try and run down Vest here and still has time for that. Then the driver that is trying to stretch out the fuel tank as far as possible, Scott Simley here, has been lifting, shutting that car off, pushing in the clutch, it seems like every lap in this one. This 33 machine trying to make it to the end of this one. Can he do it? Well, only time will tell on that one. We head back up towards the front here, though, as Dustin Coggin once again starting to put some pressure here on Brandon Guerin. Then right behind them, Johnny Barker in danger of losing 2 spots, as Koger and Kelly both right there as well. And remember, about 40 laps or so ago, we saw drivers not being able to make passes on that inside lane here, with his outside having the momentum. Drivers that maybe didn't quite have the pace, but were able to keep the momentum up in that higher lane, able to hold off drivers. Johnny Barker trying to do just that, but Koger off of turn number 2, gonna clear the 6th machine. So that tells me one thing: Johnny Barker should be to pit road sooner than later here to try and bleed off as little time as possible. Speaking about drivers pitting sooner than later, Rob Lowe, I like that call. Doesn't have the pace that he needs. He'll bring it into pit road here on 78. From here on out, he is good on fuel to make it to the end. Up towards the front, though, we might get a new race leader. Isaac Salas here has run down Joe Hudson. He's now within 3 car lengths. Now maybe make it 2 here by the time they get back into turn number 1 here, with about 40 laps left in this one. So final round of pit stops. That window is open. Who is going to be the first and who will be the last? We'll find out here in just a few laps, as here we go. Battle for the race lead. Let's ride on board with Joe Hudson looking back at Isaac Salas. And we can see once again those lap times, once again a 1.5 seconds off of the best time, as Joe Hudson maybe he had a split second to close the gap on Salas there, but decided not to do it. That opens up the top side for the 5 machine, and Isaac Salas, new race leader, he will take over the point as Joe Hudson will bring it down pit road that time by. So Salas here to the race lead. Mike Kelly having some sort of issue here, as Mike Kelly, big time damage. So not sure what happened to Kelly. We'll take a look here off of turn number 2 and see what happened. But Mike Kelly done for the night. And it looks like Logan Koger will bounce it off of the wall, come across the nose, and once again, Mike Kelly, for the 2nd time of the night, gets shot down through the grass of the backstretch, none of his own doing, and then a huge impact to that inside wall. Logan Koger going to be able to sneak on away with it, I think, with kind of minimal damage. Going to lose a lot of time from that one, but wow, Mike Kelly, I mean, he has to be pretty fuming to have kind of 2 identical incidents happen in the night. and the second one taken out of the race. So with that, while we're taking a look at that, quite a few cars here down on pit road, cycling on out. Steve Ritter currently down on pit road. Same with Johnny Barker, but then Isaac Salas, Brandon Guerin, Dustin Coggin all have visited pit road. Pretty much once again the top four have yet to visit pit road here, as we get about 35 laps left in this one here tonight. So we are about 10 laps away from the old countdown clock here at Chicagoland. It looks like from their drivers from pit road, once again, Joe Hudson being the best on and off pit road, though Isaac Salas had himself a solid pit stop as well. Salas about a second and a half back, though he this time only has about a lap or so tire advantage. Then Brandon Guerin and Dustin Coggins, both those cars once again within striking distance of each other here. Like I said, it's Koger, Holyfield, Vest, Audit, as well as I think Scott Simley has yet to pit, but Simley might not have the pace because when it's all said and done, those drivers that did pit in front of him are still in front of him. So Scott Simley maybe not on the right strategy now that we get to see the full big picture here in this one. So it looks like Koger here going to try and run this 80 machine out of fuel in this one. Going to try and stretch it on out as far as he can. Hope for caution to get a little bit of track position here in this one, but that is going to be a tall ask as everyone very, very spread on out. Speaking about people spread out, let's take a look here at the track map here on the right side of your screen, and you can see Chicagoland pretty much like a big egg out here. I mean, very, very big sweeping corners here in this one, but you can see with this big track map, everyone very, very spread on out. So it's probably going to be a very tall order to get a caution here late in this one, as now we see Koger down on pit road. He'll bring the 80 machine down. Steve Vest will stay on out, and it looks like Vest will take over the point for the time being. So Steve Vest here, I believe, might get a shot to lead his first ever laps here this season. And that's just by running a nice, smooth, consistent pace. Can keep a little bit extra fuel in that race car, keep those tires underneath that thing. And it seems like Vest's not coming in this time, so he will for sure lead the lap here to start lap 90 of 120. Landon Audit, the only other car yet to pit, still on the lead lap. Then it only leaves Scott Simley on that one-stop strategy, trying to make it here to the end. Isaac Salas was able to get around Joe Hudson, so that will be the battle for the race lead here before it's all said and done. As Steve Vest continues to stay out on the racetrack here in this one. Vest last pitted on 46, so can probably make it about one or two more laps before he'll have to bring that Pennzoil number 60 machine here down to pit road. Then Landon Audit last down on 51, so Audit could make it anywhere from, 100 to probably 103, 104, depending on the pace. So Audit has a little bit more laps in case he needs it, but looks like might not be able to lead a lap here because Isaac Salas, with those fresh tires, going to be able to drive right around that 15 machine. So Isaac Salas looking to make yet another driver here this season in their first start visiting victory lane and going 1-for-1. We saw it a few times in the Cup Series. Definitely saw it a few times here in the Busch Series. And with Steve Vest here pitting this time by Isaac Salas in his first start this season, I believe on Wednesday night. Wednesday night. Jeez, it's Friday night, folks. I believe first ever start. Let me double check here before I get too far ahead of myself. Yeah, definitely first ever start for Salas. So looking to go 1-for-1, like I was saying. We've definitely seen it a few times here this season in the Busch Series. And Salas trying to add his name to a pretty good name of other drivers here in this one. Rob Lowell right there going one lap down. So Lowell in P number 9. Looks like probably will get a top 10 finish when it's all said and done. But he might have to battle there. Steve Vest just off of pit road for that lucky dog position. But looks like Lowell will keep it up out of the way for the time being. Oh no, like I was saying, folks, Johnny Barker seems like he is having himself no luck each and every time he loads into the racetrack. And that is the case once again here tonight. Johnny Barker getting busted on pit road for either too fast entering. So Johnny Barker with a pit road penalty. That will probably knock him out of a top 10 finish. So like I said with that 6 car, man, it seems like Johnny Barker can't even buy a break at this point, which is such a bummer to see. But here tonight, we head over to the countdown clock here in this one. Now going to be 24 laps left here tonight at Chicagoland. We have only seen one flag out here tonight. It has only been the green flag. These guys have been racing since the drop of the green about 95 laps ago. And right now, still within a second battle for the race lead. Isaac Salas currently our race leader. Joe Hudson in second. Then Brandon Guerin sits in third. But once again, still Dustin Coggin all over the back bumper of that one car, just waiting for a mistake here. If he makes one, Coggin can definitely capitalize on that. And we got to head back quite a ways away to Steve Ritter. How about this? Ritter having himself a quiet night, riding on around, keeping that car underneath him. And when it's all said and done, Steve Ritter looking pretty good to walk away with a top 5 finish. Landon Auto here down on pit road. He'll bring it in for the final service of the night. Johnny Barker also down and onto pit road as well. And then that only leaves Scott Simley out here. Can Simley stretch that fuel tank 22 more laps? Can he do it? I mean, won't be for the race lead, anything like that. It now comes down to Simley versus this challenge here. Can he stretch it on out here? But yeah, we see here, folks, everyone kind of spreading on out. Everyone probably ready to get this race wrapped up and done and over with. These guys, this race was a workout for these drivers, each and every lap up there on the wheel, trying different lines, trying this, trying that. I tell you what, Isaac Salas out here making it work here and putting on a show here. Has driven up, 6 positions, and with the cars left out here tonight, actually Salas sits the biggest mover of the night. So how about that? I tell you what, I was wondering with Isaac Salas here has the dirt car logo on the side of that race car. I was a little bit curious there with that kind of break and talk, and looking at the stats, I'm like, man, maybe Salas is running the 802 Tuesday night series with the East Coast modifieds here, and it actually looks like no. I think Salas first ever start in any of the series, and he's looking to go 1 for 1. Has about just less than 18 laps here left in this one, as I believe we have out here tonight Rob Lowe with a little bit of a damage flag on that race car. So we'll see if that is the case, or if maybe my overlay system, a little bit broken on that one. But that just to go to show, if that car really is showing that thing is big time damage to get the damage flag out here in this one. And that looks like the case, because here comes Rob Lowell down into pit road. So Lowell gonna probably give up a top 10 finish when it's all said and done. Has the meatball flag by him, and that just goes to show kind of the night the 21 machine is having. So Scott Simley there trying to save fuel, going 2 laps down. Like I said, he's not racing for any sort of position. It's now him versing this strategy to prove to himself that it can be done when it's all said and done. And even with that, with the race of attrition here late in this one, Simley could be walking away with a top 10 finish. Dustin Coggin here was able to get around Brandon Guerin, so let's try and take a look here. Let's try and find the pass for that P number 3 position. As here we go, we will take a look at it here through 3 and 4. Dustin Coggin with a big time move into turn number 3. Brandon Guerin, it looks like, gets a little bit tight, trying to get on that throttle early, almost gets the wall, and Coggin just keeping that momentum, keeping that thing close, and Guerin into the wall there. That is what allowed there Dustin Coggin to get P number 3 in this one, and we could be talking with Dustin before the end of this one, though he has to hold off Brandon Guerin for about 14 or so laps, now making about 13 and a half. Rob Lowe able to get back out there on the speedway. He sits 2 laps down, so gonna try and run down Scott Simley before it's all said and done. I mean, though Simley just hitting the start finish line, Rob Lowe off of turn number 2, so he's gonna have to hope Simley kind of runs out of fuel to get that position. But anything could happen here at Chicagoland, just like MIS back in the day, where it was a big time fuel mileage race. We'll see that out of the 33 machine here tonight. I tell you what, Brandon Guerin not going away. He has continued to try and drive the wheels off that race car, trying to get around, or I should say get back by around Dustin Coggin. So let's ride on board here with Brandon Guerin with the helmet cam. You can hear Brandon, those front tires screeching on that race car. He is trying to get everything he can out of this race car late in this one, but Dustin Coggin doing a great job running a good line out here, keeping that momentum built on up in that 46 machine. Coggin no slouch when it comes to defensive driving, and he's doing that a great job at that right now. Right there, giving Brandon Guerin the dirty air, and you can see the one car having to put a lot of wheel in that race car to get it to turn right there. And that's what dirty air can do to you. 2:10 to go that time by here at Chicagoland, so that will make it here single digits to go left in this one as we take a seat here in the stands at Chicagoland, a site that will be back this season in NASCAR in the 4th of July weekend as fans and race cars will return to Chicagoland Speedway here in this one. And yeah, I tell you what, I'm pumped up for that race. It's going to be a worn out surface, and with those next-gen cars, how they put on the racing at, 1.5-mile, 2-mile racetracks, it's going to be an exciting one at that. Yeah, this is the best battle on Speedway. Everyone else, over a second and a half apart from one another, so this race definitely wrapping on up here as everyone kind of finding their pace here late in this one. But I tell you what, Isaac Salas, man, he has put together a great race here in this one. He is hoping to see the white flag get this race official here in this one, and we could be chatting with him at the end of this one. Same with Hudson as well as Coggin, if that stays the same here in these last 7 laps. But as we saw here tonight, folks, all it takes is one mistake. You get that wall big time off of turn number 2, it shoots you way down in the grass, and it could be game over in a blink of an eye. As Isaac Salas here with Steve Vest in front of him. Vest not for position. Vest trying to stay on the lead lap. He is the last car on the lead lap there in P number 8, but right now able to keep the pace in front of the 9 machine. And actually both those cars are driving away from Joe Hudson in second. So Hudson starting to fall off the pace just a little bit. Can Dustin Coggin track him down in time? Last time by Joe Hudson a 33.00, whereas Dustin Coggin a 32.82. So 0.2 of a second faster. That could be enough. If he's a second back in these last 5 laps, it's going to be very, very close. Coggin could very well get there. The question is, will he have enough time to make a move on him, as Dustin Coggin a second back from Joe Hudson here. Last time by, Hudson picked it up by a 10th there, a 32.92, whereas Dustin Coggin, though, picked it up a half a tenth, though, a 32.78. So Coggin still increasing that pace, making up that gap just a little bit here, but it might not be enough time here that time by at the start finish line. 3/4 of a second now into turn number 1, 0.7 of a second back. Once again, 0.2 of a second advantage to Dustin Coggin. So like I said, folks, he will have just enough time to get there. I don't know if it's going to be enough time to make a move. We'll find out here, though, as this time by. We will see 3 laps left in this one here at Chicagoland, with another great race that is looking like it's going to go green to checkered here in this one. And I tell you what, another battle for position. Scott Simley with that fuel saving strategy. He's kept that car out there, going to be the only car remotely close to stretching it on a one-stopper. But with Rob Lowe back out there on the speedway, Rob Lowe will rebound to a top 10 finish when it's all said and done. Popsicle sticks up in the air this time by, 2 to go, and Dustin Coggin is in within striking distance here, within 3 car lengths. He's going to have probably one opportunity to make a move on Joe Hudson. It's going to come here at the start-finish line when they get the white flag. Where will Coggin go? Can he make a move in the non-preferred bottom side? Can he get a nose to the outside of Hudson? We'll find out here as the white flag is out one more time around here at Chicagoland. Coggin to the inside of Hudson. If I'm Coggin here, I'm sailing it in there deep, trying to get clear of Hudson on corner exit. Coggin, though, gonna be the better man than me. Gonna keep it to the bottom side. Hudson will get a piece of the wall. Coggin has one more shot here through 3 and 4. He once again put that car on that bottom side seam. What can he do? He'll have the advantage. He will get clear. Joe Hudson will try the crossover, but Isaac Salas will pick up the win. Dustin Coggin will bring it home in second. Joe Hudson will round out the podium in third. Brandon Guerin in fourth. And Steve Ritter will round out the top 5 there. Wow, what a race, folks. And man, that was pretty exciting to end a race. That goes green to checkered once again. And that makes it now 2 races in a row here in the 802 iRacing League between the Friday night and the Sunday night that they have gone green to checkered. And 3 out of the last 4 races have been green to checkered. So that goes to show what kind of group this racing group is. As Isaac Salas here on the front straightaway, gonna park it here and burn it on down. So Isaac Salas, first start, first win. And don't go anywhere, folks, because after these celebrations, we'll be back with our post-race show here at Chicagoland.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we are back here at Chicagoland Speedway and going to be chatting with our podium finishers. The first driver we will be talking to here is the 23 machine. It is Joe Hudson here tonight. Joe, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Hey, Brett the Jet, how the heck are you this Friday night?
I tell you what, we are doing pretty good. How are you doing, Joe, after 120 laps to end up on the podium? You gotta be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, second loser. Sweaty. It's a lot of laps there with no cautions to break it up. We kind of got separated out and became who could manage their tires. And I thought I was doing a really good job managing my tires. But obviously Dustin and Isaac, they had it mastered a little bit more. I thought I'd let Isaac go and try to follow him and see what he was doing. And he had a really good line that kept his momentum and was obviously not not as hard on his tires because I could match him some laps, but he was just faster. And then Dustin just had a better tire there at the end, and I was hoping I could hold him off there that last lap, but he got me in 3 and 4. But all in all, a good night. Won last night and third tonight, so things are looking up for the old number 23.
Yeah, that they are. I tell you what, a great run here tonight, Joe, because not we'll start at the beginning of the night, let's say, practice always tough to gauge, real speed, let's say, but when it came to qualifying, you sat on the pole for quite a while, ended up starting on the front row, man. That was a great qualifying effort by you.
Yeah, this track's very difficult because there you can run high, you can run low, and if you hit it, both high and low will be fast. So it was just I think I ran high in 1 and 2, low in 3 and 4, and uh, it was just about hitting the marks. But yeah, it was my teammate Logan. He beat us all by a good bit, but unfortunately, with only 14, 15 cars in there, qualifying wasn't as crucial as it could have been. But it's also always good to start up front and try to save with those guys. Everybody did a really good job racing each other clean, and it was a lot of fun. Just a lot more fun to win.
Yeah, I could believe so. I know you want to be a few spots better, but yeah, I tell you what, those battles at the beginning of the race was awesome. I could tell you started saving some tire. It seemed like you were pushing maybe for the race lead. Once you couldn't grab that, you kind of backed it on down and then quickly ran back down that front pack. And yeah, you guys were throwing on some big time moves. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, it's fun to do. It's just that high side's hard to beat. You got to really be a lot better to pass somebody on the inside, or the guy on the outside has to make a mistake, and you just have to be respectful and careful. You don't want to just bullseye in there or bonsai off in there and bounce off a guy. There's no skill in that. But everybody, again, even though it was only 15 of us, everybody raced so respectful, and that for me, I do this for fun. Of course, like I said, it is a lot more fun to win, but these leagues where everybody races clean and respects each other, even if you don't win, it's still a lot of fun. And the racing was intense, and you know, third third was the best we had. So we'll work on it and keep going.
Yeah, for sure. And I tell you what, one thing you were really lights out with, man, and we got to talk about was pit road. It seemed like each time that we had a green flag pit stop, this 23 machine would get a gap. I mean, where did you pick up the speed with that, and how much did you practice pit stops? Because, man, you were on it with that tonight, and that went to show kind of each green flag pit stop, that 23 cycled out to the race lead each time.
Uh, I don't know. Do you believe in pure luck? I mean, I didn't practice, and I'm not in all my other leagues. I am not very good at it. I thought I was coming in too fast. I didn't think I was going to get slowed down, and it worked out the first time, and I backed it up a little bit the second time, and wasn't quite as quick, but still quick enough. But it's a struggle for me because you don't want to wheel hop, and the tires are old, and it's very easy to lose control, and a penalty there. I have a program that runs, and it tells you when people get black flags, and I heard it say a couple people got black flags, and that'll absolutely kill your night, penalty on pit road. So uh, again, no complaints. Just happy to be in the good old USA on a Friday night here on iRacing with you guys on Turn 3 Racing Network, doing a great job. Rob promoting the crap out of his series, running a great series, and just really happy to be here. Just like the fat girl at the prom, I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Joe, we're excited to have you each and every time when you load into a session. I'm always rooting for this 23 machine because I tell you what, after the interview of Daytona, man, I became a fan of you. It was great chatting with you. And speaking about when it comes to the Sunday night side of things, you're looking pretty good. The playoffs started, and now at the conclusion of two races going into the cutoff race, you have a decent gap, sitting fourth in points there. Man, Joe, you might be a pretty sleeper pick when it comes to that Sunday night playoffs. How you feeling about that as well while we got you?
Just trying to make all the laps and stay out of trouble. That's seems to be the key. Is I think I got the pole last week, and then again I was trying to follow Anthony, and I didn't think I was abusing my tires or anything, and then man, he checked out, and I think I did 2 stops to everybody else's one, but my tires were just shot after 40 laps, and that's my struggle on this server. I've raced cars my whole life, late model stocks, asphalt, and this sim is the closest thing to real life that I've ever done. How they can be smart enough to get the tires to wear the way they do, but I just cannot seem to figure out in all the years I've doing this how to keep the right front on this car. So, but just keep working on it, and it will. We'll just keep hoping for the best. If you can just keep knocking off good finishes, the points will take care of themselves.
Yeah, that they will, and you just got to be up there in contention, have a little bit of lady luck, and then all of a sudden could be down in victory lane once again. So, Joe, it's been a pleasure to you, talking to you again, my man. Always a great time, and we appreciate you taking the time to be a part of the race and chat with me. But before we let you go, man, I know there's a lot of people you got to thank and some shout outs you got to give.
Just like I said, Rob and everybody at the 802 for putting the league on, and all the behind the scene work they do, and you with the broadcast. It's not an easy job to do. Uh, just happy to have a good, like I said, I'd like to shake everybody's hand that races in the league and meet them, and just let them know how much I appreciate the respectful and clean race, and them that makes it that much more fun to be here. So thanks to all the competitors for a great race.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. Once again, thank you, Joe, for being part of the competition here tonight. Congrats on the podium, and we can't see what you got in store here when it comes Sunday night with the cutoff race here at Chicagoland.
Yes, sir. Have a great evening.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. That was our third place finisher, the driver of the 23 machine, Joe Hudson. And I mean, how can you not root for a guy like Joe? It's always a great time chatting with him, and so glad we got to chat with him here tonight. Another driver we're glad we're getting a chance to chat to here will be the driver of the 46 machine. It is Dustin Coggin. Dustin, do you got a copy?
Yep, I got you, Brent.
Alrighty, man. First and foremost, how we feeling after a green 120 laps here at Chicagoland?
Man, I love those. Those are what gets me going. I can run pretty good when we don't have to worry about saving a set of tires or anything like that.
Yeah, this race definitely played into your wheelhouse, and we'll start at the end of the night, work our way forwards. Man, we were keeping a close eye on lap times there. Did you think you were going to get to Hudson? And then the next question, how were you going to get around him there at the end?
I seen in our first run when it was me and Brandon, man, we wasn't really catching him. And then I don't know what happened to him, but all of a sudden we gained like half a second. So I don't know if his tires got hot or what. So I kind of started entering up top, man, in 3 and 4. And I was just kind of running wherever I could in 1 and 2 just to stay on him. And I wasn't gaining anything, but 3 and 4 is where I made up all my time. So once I figured out how to enter up top and where to keep my car at, I was pretty good. When I caught him, I knew he was going to stay up top because that's where he was comfortable at, of course, because that's where he was running. So I just went down to the bottom in 1 and 2 and showed him my nose and stayed with him down the back straightaway and just drove it off into 3 and 4. I mean, I didn't overdrive it by any means, but I drove it in there harder than I had been. So, and once I cleared him, I just kind of, I just started looking at the flag stand pretty much and just pushed it down all the way.
Yeah, that you did able to make the move, and I tell you what, you're better than me with the broadcast hat on, because man, I would have sniffed that opening into turn number 1, saw the daylight, and maybe tried to clear myself there. Probably wouldn't have worked out, but luckily for you, it worked out there pretty well at P number 2 spot. Man, that's a good night for you, my man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. Logan had some problems, so I was just trying to gain some points on him. That's all. I mean, I didn't want to put myself in a bad spot, especially after doing this good of a race, man, and staying clean and running, doing good in pit stops, and when you have these green flag stops, man, that's you got to put all that stuff together. So one thing can mess you up the whole race. So
Yeah, that it can. And speaking about the points, leaving tonight, I think you'll be about 21 points back with 6 races left in the schedule. How you feeling about the rest of the season, Dustin? Because it's pretty much a 3-car battle, right? You, Brandon, and Logan. How you feeling about that? With now 6 races left at the conclusion of this one.
yeah, I mean, we got mostly intermediates coming up. We got I think we got like Gateway or something coming. Or yeah, I
Yep,
can't remember
Gateway in
which
2
one.
weeks, Las Vegas next week.
Yeah, so I mean those are kind of intermediates. Gateway's not. It's funny. I don't think I'm as good on these style tracks. I think I'm better on short tracks, and I usually run the opposite. I usually run worse on short tracks and better on these. So I don't know. Maybe I just need to say I'm not that great at any of them. But um, like I said, I just kind of managed my tires and had a good long run speed once I figured that's how it was going to be. So I'll just do these other races the same, man. I'll just stay clean and race people and see what I have to do to come up through the field if something happens. But I just finish the race. That's what kind of saved me some of these races. My power went out one night when I was sitting on the grid, and I came back in here and just pretty much turned 3 laps down because I don't think we ever had a yellow. So if I'd have never came back in, I probably wouldn't be up here. So.
Yeah, and I think that was the MIS race a few weeks ago, right? That you lost power on the grid.
Yep, man, and it only went out for like 3 seconds, and it
Oh,
came right back on. But I mean, my computer fired right back up, but you have to wait on your internet. So I was just right here. My router's right here, so I was just sitting here waiting for it to turn blue.
yeah, man, that's such a bad feeling too. If router, internet, even like you said, power stuff where it's out of your control and take you out of a race, man, that's always a tough feeling. It's almost like a mechanical failure, right, in a real life car.
Yep, that's kind of like leaving some lug nuts off or just blowing up an engine sitting in the pits, I guess.
Yeah, definitely a tough one. But even all things considered, man, not out of it yet. But yeah, overall, man, this race was pretty intense, especially at the beginning of this one. Tell us about that battle. And I was kind of surprised see everyone go up to the top as quickly as they did and then stay up there as well. It seemed like, man, that top side was where he's at. But I tell you what, some great racing, especially before that first green flag pit stop there, you included.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to stay on the bottom just to see if my tires would be better and if I would have more speed at the end, like enough to really matter. And I mean, I did a little bit, but I didn't think it was enough. So at that, I kind of used the first run to gauge, what I was going to do in my second one. So I just ran in there and ran on the bottom, man. I ran at the bottom the whole first run, and I did move up towards the end once I could kind of get to people, but I wasn't a whole lot faster to really justify doing that in the second run. So
Gotcha. Yeah, appreciate the insight here tonight, Dustin. Well, Las Vegas set for next week, about 21 points back. What's the game plan going into there, and how are you feeling about that place?
I actually like Las Vegas. It's one of my favorite tracks. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say. I'm not gonna talk too much because usually it don't go well. So I'm just gonna run my race, man, and see what happens. And whatever happens, happens. I can't change it. So that's how it is.
Alrighty, I like that game plan. Keeping the playbook close to the chest, and I don't blame you there because it's going to be a barn burner ending to the season here. And Dustin, you're right in the thick of it. So before we let you go, man, celebrate this runner-up finish. I mean, it's good to have you back on the podium as well, Dustin. It feels like it's been a minute, most of it not your own doing. So I'm sure you're glad to probably string together a full, complete race here tonight as well.
Yeah, it helps, man. I mean, I usually try to be up in the top 5 if I can, but I mean, sometimes things happen. Sometimes you get busted speeding in the pits, and you just have to deal with it and make the best of it. So, hopefully, I'm done with that for the year. But if it does happen, I'll try to make the best of it and run what I can.
Oh yeah, you've been one of the best when it comes to rebounds in a race here. It seems like all season you've had probably more than a handful of races. It seems like battling after adversity to salvage a decent points day, and the points show that coming in, leaving tonight with a little bit points advantage over Logan Koger and able to make up some points there. So Dustin, before we let you go though and celebrate the runner-up finish, we're going to go hand over the mic to you and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out here on the broadcast.
Yeah, man, I like to thank, my wife and my daughter. They let me come in here and do this at night and kind of let me have my time. Every once in a while there'll be a spider or something in the bathroom, but usually my wife will go handle it for me. So I thank them doing it, man, and just having the time y'all being in here broadcasting it. We love watching it. Usually I'll watch it the next day at work or something, or I know my wife usually watches them. So them and Rob and them for putting it on is fun. I love coming in here and running the laps, and it helps too because I run a lot of Xfinity Open officials, so it helps coming in here and racing with people. Then then you can go translate it to there. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. And yeah, I tell you what, I always tell people the best seat time is race practice time. Yeah, you can make 1,000 laps by yourself, but when you can get practice in race scenarios, man, that matters exponentially more, right?
Yep. Yep, and also, man, you're racing with people you don't race with when you run official, so you don't know how they react. So it definitely helps in getting around people and how to race around people. And when you get in here and you know how people drive, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, that it does. Well, Dustin, congrats again on the runner-up finish. It's been a pleasure talking to you, my man, and I'm sure we're not done talking to you this season. So, Dustin, you have yourself a great rest of the night, and we'll catch you next week here at Las Vegas.
All right, man, you have a good one. Thank you.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. That was our runner-up finisher, Dustin Coggins, in the number 46 machine, closing up that points battle. Now we'll head down to victory lane and talk to the man of the hour. It is the driver of the number 5. It is Isaac Salas. Isaac, do you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Alrighty, man. First and foremost, how we feeling after 120 laps here at Chicagoland?
Dude, wore out. What do you mean? I'm wore out. That was a lot of fun. I'm just pretty stoked of how that all went actually. So, yeah.
Yeah, I could believe you are wore out. 120 laps is no joke around this place. And then to do it green to checkered, I was looking at the stats. I don't think you've made any sort of stats or starts here with the 802 League, right?
No, sir. This was my first race with them.
Wow. So, I mean, the green to checkered definitely wasn't on your bingo card coming into tonight. But yeah, that's some of the racing we can get here. And I mean, to go into a race, unprepared for that, it could definitely seem like a long one. And, full concentration here at this place is needed, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm actually like a dirt guy. Like I race a lot more dirt racing than asphalt in general. Like I'm kind of just really branching out this month or so, probably I would like to say maybe a month and a half. But the changing of the line was a lot of fun in 1 and 2, and getting realizing where the line was, and a little bit of a learning curve there. It took me a little bit, but it was a lot of fun there. And then 3 and 4, man, it was kind of like a little tap dance. Like you wanted to keep enough momentum to keep your overall speed up through the corners. And then I kind of found that higher groove in the second run there. And, it's kind of like as close as you could get to the wall without touching it kind of deal. And it's kind of what I do on the dirt side. So it really helped out a lot. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I tell you what, I was just about to say, I'm sure you're right in your wheelhouse on the dirt side of things, putting it up on the fence, but not hitting it. Because, yeah, I saw the dirt car sticker on the side of it. I'm like, man, is this guy part of maybe, running the Tuesday night GStone 358 mods? And I haven't looked at the stats. Nope, didn't even run there. So, first ever start going 1 for 1 as well. Man, that's awesome to see.
Yeah, dude. And it was a lot of fun, man. It's, to have like both hard racing and respect. I mean, I gave someone a tap there, and just backed out of, made sure he could live to see another day, and somebody did to me as well, and it was just a very nice like a nice change of pace, honestly. Like a couple of the leagues that I've been in have kind of been caution fest, and so this, obviously 120 laps green, so say something. But to see like the respect that was given was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it, to be honest with you. It took a lot of concentration though, because I mean these guys were fast, like they really were. I like the first run of the race, man. I was like, wow, I'm getting kind of getting my butt whooped right now. um, but yeah, I kind of have to just reiterate like how much fun that was, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the good time, and I tell people, the name of the game, especially here on iRacing, is man, league racing. It's where it's at, and once you find a good league, of the right drivers, man, it just takes everything to a whole new level. Let's say, right?
Oh, for sure. It's so nice to kind of like you get into those leagues, and um like everybody just has a good time, like obviously there's drama every once in a while, but like you kind of get to race the same people every week. Like I'm excited to race with these guys again. They'll probably whoop my butt at least in the next coming weeks. I already know it, but yeah, like it's just fun to, to be with a bunch of guys already that give you respect from basically before the drop of the green flag. So it's nice, man. I'm super excited.
Oh yeah, we're definitely excited to have you out here on the racetrack. It was great to see you here tonight. Impressive what you're able to do, and yeah, to go kind of back on that point of going out here having fun. I always say that even in any sort of league, we're out here spending our time. We might as well have fun with it, because if we're not having fun at the end of the day, especially on a virtual sim racing simulator, right? It's like, what are we doing with our time, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. Like it was so much fun to like the way these cars are is they get really loose at the end of the race, or at the end of a run, excuse me, and
Yep.
um you just kind of have to, you're kind of right on the edge of grip and the edge of spinning, really. And it's such a blast to drive these style of cars. And yeah, I mean, if you're going to be on the sim, you want to drive cars that you really enjoy. And yeah, I had, like I said, I had a blast. I'll keep saying it because it was a blast.
Oh yeah, man, we had a great time even calling this race. This was a fun one to be had, and yeah, like you said, I think a lot of people would agree too. These are some of the best, if not the best, NASCAR style cars on the sim, because of that being able to drive off the right rear and can really, wheel these race cars, especially once they get some tire wear in them and all that good stuff, which we saw big time here tonight, right? I mean, pace fell off a cliff, let's say, compared to new versus even 20, 30 laps on a set of tires. How were you able to manage that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it came down to just, I've gotten to this point now in the first little bit of that I've been driving these cars that, you can really abuse these the tires really like in the first five. So I kind of told myself, like play the long game, kind of get into a line where, you might not be fast right away, but if you can keep the tires underneath you, I mean, lap 25, 30, that's kind of when I felt like I got into my best form, just because it felt like everyone had they had either used their stuff up either just as much as me, or to where I could use the dirt racing experience, or I had just a little bit more tire life than them. And, it's just a lot of fun to really drive off that right rear and save tires. But yeah, like I'm still learning it. Like it's probably gonna take a little bit. But yeah, like it's fun. Like I enjoy that kind of thing. So it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, man, it is. And like we said before, especially long races where it really comes down to strategy and you can really kind of plan out a race, it can be a lot of fun. And next week, kind of a similar place with that kind of strategy, Las Vegas. You can start burning off the right front, especially right rear if on the throttle. Have you raced that track before, and how are you feeling about that here?
I've done a few races there before. Nothing like to the extent of laps we're gonna do. Just kind of like messing with some hosts and stuff like that. But I've kind of felt a couple lines. I kind of understand where you need to be. I probably what day do I come? I come back home on Thursday from a vacation, so I'm probably gonna have to get kind of right into the session like right as it opens on Friday or next Friday, and kind of put some laps down and try to just get a feel for how the track races and everything else like that. So it'll be a fun learning experience. I'm super excited to get to next week. Um, I mean, hopefully I do good again. That'd be sweet. I'd love to make it 2 for 2, but like I said earlier, these guys are really good. So I just kind of want to learn, kind of try not to make anybody upset with me for the remainder of this season. But yeah, I'm still gonna try to. I'll try to do something for you. I'll try to put on a show for you, I guess.
Oh, we appreciate it big time. We always love when drivers go out there and put on a show. I will give you a little bit of insight, though, about Las Vegas. You want to miss the bumps in 1 and 2 at all costs. They're about a car length up from the bottom, so you either want to run the complete bottom, put the left sides on the paint, or run about 2 car lengths up, about a car length off the, let's say, the next seam from the bottom. So a little insight for you for next week.
Perfect, perfect. I'll see if I do good in my qualifying or something like that. I'll have to shout you out for helping me figure out the track before I probably should have.
Alrighty, awesome stuff, Isaac. Well, I tell you what, man, it was great chatting with you. Thanks for jumping in here. Thanks for being part of the race, and man, congrats on the win. I tell you what, if you have this pace next week, the field better watch out, right?
Yeah, dude, I hope so. I really do. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to, like I said, I'm gonna try not to make any enemies, and I'm gonna try to have a blast and try to be fast. And you know what? If I can keep my long run pace in the car like I did this week, then I got a chance. So that's the whole goal, is to try to have a chance at the end.
Awesome stuff. And man, I tell you what, man, I love your mindset there. Go out there, not make any enemies, have a blast. That's what everyone needs to have, right? Loading into a session, no matter what they're doing on iRacing. But Isaac, once again, great time talking with you here tonight. Real quick before we let you go, I always like to get a little insight about people's sim racing setup. What they got for wheels, pedals, what are they looking at? What do you got these days, Isaac?
Yes, sir. So I got pretty good stuff, man. So I got the Fanatec wheel and pedals. The Fanatec wheel is a NASCAR wheel that I use on my dirt and I guess my oval side of things. Um, the Fanatec inverted V3s, I don't think I'll ever go back from those. They're the best thing I've probably ever bought for iRacing. Um, yeah, I race in a Oculus Quest that I don't think I'll ever be able to go back from either. It's the depth perception's great. It can strain the eyes a little bit, especially if you're running 120 straight. So yeah, but yeah, man, I think that's really all I got. Like the force feedback is awesome. The almost feeling like you can kind of feel what the car is doing without the seat of the pants feel is a lot of fun. And yeah, I think that's really. I mean, I got a good computer underneath it, but yeah,
Yep.
I think that's so.
Yeah,
Makes
that's
it so
awesome.
it makes it so I can see the whole venue at 120 frames per second. So yeah, I put a lot into my sim racing stuff.
Oh, for sure, man. And I tell you what, those V3s I have a set myself, man, like you said, can never go back to anything else. Those were a game changer when I bought them. And man, I tell you what, another dirt driver that loves the VR, it seems like, out of anyone, it seems like the majority of VR users come from the dirt side of things. And I think that's because to be able to have that kind of head motion right on the dirt with it being so tight and always kind of looking to the right, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think and like I said earlier, it's just a perfect depth perception thing for me. I mean, a lot of your time made up in dirt is like being as close to the wall as you can, or being as perfect to the tires as you can. So, for that aspect of things, I love the VR, and coming to the asphalt side of things, it's a lot of fun for road racing. Like you can actually kind of see how the corners are. For ovals, you can actually get a feel for what the banking is and how it should help the car. And I think it helps me on exits the most because I can kind of see the jut out in the wall coming out of like two here. It juts out maybe, I don't know, a foot and a half, 2 foot. but I can see that, and so I can help give myself that extra room on exit that like just keeps the momentum up. So I think things like that just make your VR such a great tool to have, and it takes some getting used to. Don't get me wrong, but it'll be hard. It would be hard to go back from it.
Yep, and like we all talk about, especially on iRacing, and it really is a game of inches, especially once you get up to the top side and the top echelon of things. So, Isaac, once again, congrats on the win here tonight. Appreciate you taking your time to be a part of the show and be a part of the post-race show here down in Victory Lane. So, before we let you go, my man, and celebrate the first win, we of course got to hand over the mic to you and have you thank who you got to thank, whether teammates, sponsors, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast. So the stage is yours.
Oh, well, I've done this a time or two, so don't you worry. But yeah, just a big shout out to all the guys over at Venom Racing, and everything that they support me. And I mean, they've seen me do a bunch of random leagues and races, so super supportive and love those guys. Super Dirt Car Series for sponsoring my race cars, Magnum Race Designs, JRB Designs, RSN Trackside, Mission 22, Top Notch Trucking with my Gramps, Shaggy TV, Rinci Home Inspections. Thank you for the broadcast, sir. I'm super excited to go back and watch them. You'll come to find out that I'm very notorious for watching broadcasts, basically either the night of or the day after. I watch a lot of racing, whether it be sim racing or not. On that, big shout out to mom, dad, Gramps for watching. All my friends that watch my stuff. My wonderful fiance that let me, enjoy 2.5 hours of my time, probably.
Yep, on a Friday night.
On a Friday night. But yeah, I mean, hopefully I can get into a couple more of these interviews where you can find out she's all a part of this. To be honest with you, she watches racing with me more than probably any of my other friends do, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, but yeah, other than that, big shout out to all to the league. 802 is a lot of fun, and then everybody that was here tonight. So,
all
hope
right,
to talk to you again.
Yeah, for sure, Isaac. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And man, I tell you what, if you have a Tuesday night open, we got to see how you stack up against the 802 boys and the 358 modifieds. I tell you what, they're some of the best when it comes to the dirt sim stuff, especially in the league. So if you get some free time, especially on a Tuesday, try and join one of those races because, man, those put on some great shows as well. And I think you would fit right in with those guys as well.
Well, I know most of them, so if you can help convince them to let me run Tuesdays, I'll see you Tuesdays too.
All righty, awesome stuff. We'll see what kind of strings we can pull. But Isaac, once again, it's been a great time chatting with you. You, my man, have a great rest of the night. Go celebrate this win. We're going to go wrap up in the booth, and we'll be back here at your pit stall and party it out for the rest of the night, right?
Oh, dude, yeah. I already got the bush lattes rolling and everything, so we're having a party.
Heck yeah, have a few cold ones for me, and I'll be down there, bring some myself, so.
Perfect.
All righty, Isaac. Well, once again, you, my man, have a great rest of your night, and once again, congrats on the win here.
Awesome. Thanks, sir. I appreciate it.
All righty, awesome stuff. Man, what a fun post-race interview that was, chatting with all three of those guys, Joe, Dustin, and Isaac. Man, what a great time. And like I said, you never know who you're going to come across here in a sim race. And once again, some great people here in 802. So before we let you go, let's get things wrapped on up, get things here ready to rock and roll. So looks like they already shut the lights here down at Chicagoland. So race results will look like the following. Isaac Salas here. First start, first win. He brings it down in victory lane. Dustin Coggins shaves off a few very important points in that championship battle. Coggin will finish second. Joe Hudson rounding out the podium. Brandon Guerin will bring it home fourth. And Steve Ritter will round out the top five. Logan Koger will bring it home sixth. Seventh going to Ron Holyfield. Eighth is Steve Vest, landed on at ninth. And Rob Lowell rounding out the top 10. Scott Simley was able to do the one-stop strategy. He was able to do that on up and bring it home 11th, 12th going to Johnny Barker. Mike Kelly in 13th, 14th, Bryson Anderson and Ken Kuko rounding out the field here in this one. Of course, we got to thank here 802 and all of the league members to put on the show here tonight. Appreciate each and every one of them racing here on Friday nights. And of course, all the league sponsors, that being BG Graphix, Riptide Radio, Stone, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, GStone Motorsports, as well as Admin Boxx coming on board here in the middle of the season. We also got to thank here all the league admins for doing all the tough work on the backside. And then, of course, you at home. We got to thank all the live viewers, all the replay viewers. We appreciate each and every one of you. And, you know, even a click goes a long way and means a lot to myself. So that will do it here tonight. I've been Brett the Jet in the booth with Turn 3 Racing Network. Here with Turn 3, we have a lot of great racing throughout the week. So if you're bored, want to check out some great sim racing action, be sure to tune into Turn 3, whether Dave in the cave, Roger Muth in the booth, or Upstate Al. We got KR out there as well with a lot of super speedway racing. So a lot of great stuff here in Turn 3, and we're pretty proud of all of it. So also at Turn 3, we are partnered with Premier Setup Shops. You can find out more about Premier in the link in the description. And if you don't buy anything, a click would go a long way. Show that, hey, as they support us, that we can generate some traffic back. So that'll do it here tonight from Chicagoland. Next week on Friday night, we head to Las Vegas. Or be sure to tune in Sunday night for the cutoff race for the round of 15. Big time drama, a lot at stake. And it's going to be a wild one here Sunday night at 7 o'clock. So that will do it here tonight. Everyone take care, stay safe, have a great weekend, and we'll catch you in 1 week's time. So once again, I've been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community